Ecclesiastes. Thanks for getting through that reading. You know, Solomon talking to people. There's some bright spots in there. Enjoy your youth while you're young. And then he goes full Eeyore mode. As the mourners fill the streets and the grasshopper drags itself along. Okay. I got to admit, when I heard from our awesome pastors, Pastor Andrew, Pastor AJ, talking about going through Ecclesiastes, I'm like, okay, all right. But you know what? Every single week, reaching into the Word, looking into the exponential wisdom that Solomon gives us and why God's got this in His Word, and looking at what we're talking about today, this particular reading, and all the different things out there, and the whole theme of remembering our Creator in our youth. And to me, getting into that reading, there's so many awesome things that he talks about being young and all the awesome things that happen when you're youth, but then he comes with a lot of warnings. And basically, I believe he's trying to tell us to stay centered in God. Stay centered in the life that He's given you, the awesome things He's brought you into your life, that not just the things you need, things you want, all the stuff that you actually need for the life centered in Him is here. Now, I started thinking about in my life, about times when I learned the importance of staying centered. The biggest time I learned this lesson was I learned the hard way, and it's when I used to do MMA. Now, I just did MMA as fitness. It was a great workout, hitting that heavy bag, you know, good cardio, good way to get stress out and stuff like that. And yes, that is me, and that is my friend Bob who got me into MMA, and he is kicking me. Bob taught me a lot of great things. Brother in Christ teach me all sorts of good things. One of the things he taught me just getting in there, whether you're doing boxing, you're doing kickboxing, karate stance, Muay Thai, whatever stance, whatever martial art discipline you're doing, it's important to stay centered. Keep your center of gravity centered, keep it low, all sorts of things. Even in wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff, you want to keep your balance, you want to keep your center on there. See these lines kind of going through here. No matter what, in those things, when you're sparring, if you're in the ring, because I know all of you are planning your cage fighting careers right now, but if you ever cross your legs over or you overextend yourself and your center of balance is off, you're going to get knocked to the ground. And the main goal of most of these martial art disciplines is don't get knocked to the ground. That's a bad thing. So stay centered. Anyways, I'm at this gym one day, just getting a good workout, just hitting the heavy bag over there, and one of the coaches of one of these young fighters in there, who's an amateur and turning pro, somewhere say, "Hey, what's your name? How tall are you?" Said, "I'm Matt, 6'1", 6'3", depending on how much I'm slouching." He goes, "Okay, well, what's your reach?" "I have no idea." So he says, "Come here, go over there." As we put out my hands like this, measures me from tip to tip. And he says, "All right, well, looks like your reach, just like I thought, is the same as his next opponent. So why don't you come on up in this ring and spar with him for a few rounds?" No. That was my response. I said, no, you see, I'm not a fighter. He says, "Come on, everybody's fighting something." I said, no. I'm just doing this for a workout. I don't, I spar with my friends and stuff like that, but no, I'm not going to be any help. He's like, "Listen, here's all I want you to do. All I want you to do, and this is what I believe his opponent's going to do, is he's going to jab and circle left. Jab and circle left. So that's all I want you to do. And he's going to try and get around your jab." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the part I have a problem with." So he said, "He'll just go 50%. I said, "I see you're 50, and I lower it to 10. He said, "Okay, how about 25%? You wear protective gear, and we'll buy you lunch every day you do this." Free lunch. That's what did it. So, first day, for a couple of hours, all I was doing over and over, jab, circle left, jab, circle left. Kept on doing that over and over and over. And after a few hours, start to get a little sore, start to get a little bored. Then the next day, a little bit more of that. And then two things happened to me that I think is common in our youth and continues to be a problem throughout life. One, I got bored. Two, I got overconfident in something I shouldn't be overconfident in. So, I jabbed, and then instead of circling left, he kept on coming at me with this left hook that I was blocking. So instead of jabbing and circling left, I decided to duck under his hook. Notice my legs, not centered. And I decided to put another jab out there and try and get him. But he's faster. There's a reason he does this for a living, and I never planned to. He came back. I'm not even sure what he got me with, but it was a liver shot. And if you've never been hit in the liver, imagine every major muscle group in your body being hit by lightning. You know how lightning just kind of strikes and then goes away? But this doesn't go away. It just kind of sticks with you. So I was on the ground for a while. I learned the hard way, if you don't stay centered, get a little overconfident, start doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, you're going to get hurt. And Solomon's kind of getting into that in this reading, right? We get into this. He says, you who are young, be happy while you are young. Let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart, whatever your eyes see. Yeah. Your senses are sharper. New experiences are more exciting the first time you experience them. Consequences, you're riding your bike when you're young. You fall off and scrape your knee. You get up the next day and you're fine. If I fall off my bike and scrape my knee now, I'm walking funny for at least a week or two. But he's talking about all these great things that happen. But then he finishes up with this warning. But know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. Ooh. Yeah, the Eeyore seeping in there again. But so then, banish anxiety from your heart. Cast off the troubles of your body, for youth and vigor are, there's that word again, meaninglessness, vanity, vapor. Ooh, getting into there. That vanity, that meaninglessness, just talking about, as we're created in God, and as soon as we sin and we step away, we've got a part of us filled with sin that needs to be filled up with God, and we try and fill it up with so many other different things that aren't Him. We try and fill it up with things that aren't going to sustain. It's like trying to fill it up with vapor, something that's just going to drift away, something that's never going to let us filled up. So we talk about seeking joy and seeking happiness in our Savior. You know what? Nowadays, guys, we really, really need to help our youth. We really need to help our kids focus on the joy that comes with staying centered in Christ. If you look at some of the recent statistics coming out, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, this is U.S. hospital admissions for teenage girls for non-fatal self-harm. Got to tell you, I've been working with kids for over 20 years now. In the last 5 in particular, I've seen this number of calls from families, from kids, teenagers, not just teenage girls, but from kids who are trying to harm themselves, that are thinking suicidal thoughts, that are depressed more and more and more. It's happening more and more. And look at this. Going up right over here, 2009, girls age 15 to 19, these statistics went up 62%. Girls age 10 to 14 went up 189%. In that year, 2009, social media became available on these personal devices. Now, I'm not saying that social media is evil. There's a lot of great opportunities that you can have in social media. Katie, Tim, Gloria, we've been going over, and we just had somebody new come into our life, Abby, and we've been talking and going through this Bible study together using a social media platform. There's lots of other different ways when I can engage with youth through social media. However, there's so much problem with social media with the fact that you're giving somebody 24/7 access to the world, and you're giving the world 24/7 access to them. The comparison game comes on. And that void that I have inside of me that's filled with sin, I'm looking out and I'm looking across, and it's easy to look into my device and see people who seem happy all over the place, who seem to be doing well through this, and I still don't seem happy. So maybe I need to try what they're trying. Now, I'm not saying to keep everything off, but parents, use your best judgment, use your wisdom in knowing what your kids need through that guidance, maybe putting off social media until you believe they're old enough and ready for it. It's hard to give them 24/7 access to the world and the world 24/7 access to them, but it is going to happen eventually. You know what? Looking across the way that things are going nowadays, Social media? Online presence? Having yourself as a brand? It's a thing. Yeah. See these celebrities? This is the cost for you, if you're a business, to put your product on one of their posts. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. So if you want Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to have your energy drink on one of his posts, it's going to cost you $1.52 million. Forget the Super Bowl ads. That's expensive. And it's not just celebrities. It's not just celebrities. There's people out there, people you haven't ever heard of. They're called social media influencers. They make a living on TikTok. They make a living on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Just by putting their posts, you get enough likes and you get enough followers. You can get paid $250 to up to $5,000 per post. These people are making six figures easy a year just by making social media posts, and they do that by putting out for people to look at, for people to enjoy, to click like, to click subscribe and follow. They put out what they call their brand. It's a persona they put out there that's playing video games while people are watching. It's making comments on videos. It's doing different things. And you know what? It's awesome, and it's good, and it's fun, and it's entertaining to follow. The only issue is you're putting out there a version of yourself that isn't completely true. You're putting out there what you think the world wants to see. And as soon as you step out of that center from what God made you to be to try and present to the world what you think that they want to see, you're getting away from that center and you're setting yourself up for danger. This isn't just kids. This is you and I. This is adults. This is everybody. You know, Paul was very clear about this as well as Solomon. We get into Paul writing to the church in Rome. In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, he says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing me discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." So don't be conformed. Looking out there, all the different things that it looks like, be like this person, be like this person, be like this person who's presenting this version of themselves to the world. I can talk. And they put this persona out there, and they're trying to conform to what they think the world wants. But God says, no. You're exactly who I want you to be. You are my masterpiece. I made you how you are. I've given you everything you need. Please stay in there, because the will of God is good, acceptable, okay, pretty great, perfect. God has given us what we need. God has given us himself, his Son, his Spirit, all within us. God's created us to be these amazing people and experience this joy within this community of believers. It's an awesome thing. But again, myself and kids these days, you're sitting in here, you grow up in this awesome church community. We have here the Wash Park campus over at Renewal Campus, surrounded by all sorts of people. But you know what? From in that bubble, they're looking out and saying, those people that are getting drunk and getting high, that party lifestyle looks like a lot of fun. Stepped out of that center, step out a little bit closer. Maybe I'll try that. Solomon warned us. We learned through Ecclesiastes over and over and over. My goodness. You keep on seeking after that, it's never going to be enough. You're always going to want more, and after the end, you're going to feel horrible about yourself. Okay, so maybe not the party, but well, those people out there studying, those really smart people getting degrees and being able to argue and be able to put people down, put people in their place with your knowledge and your authority over certain subjects. Man, I'm gonna dedicate myself to that. And Solomon says it's good. It's good to be wise. It's better to be wise than a fool, but as soon as you place all of your worth into that, you're going to find out that you don't necessarily like yourself or the world very much, and you're going to start to get really upset and hate life. All the other different things that Solomon's pointing out, whether it be pleasure, knowledge, seeking to promote your legacy, your wisdom, your money, skills in certain things, seeking power, popularity, all those things just aren't going to leave you fulfilled. Where you're fulfilled is right centered in God, in the precepts that he has given us that are good, acceptable, and perfect. So, how do we help our youth to enjoy their youth, to experience all the joys that they have out there? Well, if you want to give the kids one of the biggest disadvantages you could possibly give, take away their parents. Look at all these movie and story franchises. What do they have in common? Mom, dad, dead or gone early on, right? Every single one of them. So I'm talking to you parents to be the parents that God created you to be, gave you those kids to be their mother and father. And for those of you out there who aren't moms or dads, I'm talking to you too. Yeah, I'm looking out. I'm looking out here. AJ, Isaac, I see everybody else here. Aubrey, Bria, yes, I see you right there. Yes. Okay? I don't care how young you are. There is somebody looking up to you right now. And if they're not looking up to you right now, they will soon. You're going to have influence on somebody else, because in these stories as well, going over in each and every one of them, they had somebody step into their lives and offer a guidance role, offer a parental role, offer some wisdom, say you need to stop trying to be what everybody else wants you to be and just be who you are. Solomon and Paul are telling us the same thing over and over and over. God reaching out to you and say, you are my masterpiece. You are who I want you to be. You are good enough for my son's life on the cross. You are good enough for my love, and I'm never going to take that away from you. My goodness. I think back to when I was in high school, my DCE, Julie Johnston, amazing woman of God. I learned so much from her. And I remember this trip that we went on. Julie didn't go on this one, but she had some young adult couple volunteers in our congregation. They'd been on a few trips with us, Dan and Lisa. And I remember seeing them on a couple trips, and they were pretty nice, nothing extra special, but they were really nice and they were easy to talk to. It was good to have them around. And I remember on this mission trip, we were down in a village in Chihuahua, Mexico. We're building a fish hatchery. And I just, kind of noticed Dan over there talking with some people, and they were just kind of laughing. And Lisa was talking with some of the little kids in the village and whatnot. And it was a good time. And I just stopped to think, and I asked Dan, how do you guys just both get time off from work for this? He said, oh no, these are our vacation days. I said, okay, so you're using your vacation days to go to Chihuahua, Mexico to build a fish hatchery with a bunch of teenagers? He said, yeah. Well, I don't know why God wants you here, but he clearly does. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And if you're worth God's time, I think you're probably worth my time as well. So that made me just kind of latch on to Dan a little bit more and said, okay, well, he thinks I'm important. If he's finding value in me, then maybe I need to listen to what he's got to say a little bit more. We started talking, and I just said, well, okay, Dan, if you've got something for me, I'm a junior in high school. I'm looking at different colleges and different ways to go. What can you share with me? What would be your one big piece of advice you'd give me? And he pointed me to this verse in Psalms. Psalm 19, verse 8. He said, well, the precepts of the Lord are right and giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. He said, Matt, you're looking out, and I know there's lots of different ways that you can go, and you're not sure what's over there. That's why we get scared of the dark, because we don't know what's on the other side. We don't know what's right in front of us. It could be something out to harm us. He said, but if you're looking for something to give you guidance, if you're looking something to know where you're going to be safe no matter which way you go, make sure that you're paying attention to the Lord and his precepts and his commands, because they're going to give you light where nothing else is going to offer it to you. Thank you, Dan. Thinking about that over and over and over, it just made sense, because there's a lot of things out there that are very confusing nowadays. Lots of different options for us to look at. Lots of different places. As a youth, you grow up in your parents' house, you get older and older and older, and suddenly you want more and more control over your life. You want to be able to say when you can go out. You want to be able to say when I study and when I go out and have fun. You want to be able to say, here's what I want to be able to spend my money and time on. There's lots of different options out there. We're always seeking this control. It's where we've got this void. Again, the sinful void. We step out of the center. We want to seek control from all these different sources. My goodness, the world is shouting at us and shouting at our kids. There's lots of different options out there. If you're a kid growing up in an awesome church community. Sometimes there's lots of other different things shouting at us, all sorts of different religions out there. But I'm telling you guys right now, outside of a Christ-centered relationship and world and existence in Him, every single one of these religions out there offers an illusion of control. You do this and you get this. You can control this and we'll give you this. Every single one of them is doing that. Think about it this way. Now, for those of you who are good at math, you're thinking, all right. For those of you like me, this is a really bad nightmare scenario. You're placed in a classroom. You got a sheet of paper there. Up on the chalkboard is a math equation. And I don't care how good you are at math, there are some symbols up there that you do not recognize. And you're told the secret to peace, contentment, happiness, and joy is in the correct answer. And this is a pass-fail. No, well, I got a C. No, it's A+ or F, one or the other, pass-fail. So look at how these other different options offer you an illusion of control to solve this. New Age religions out there. You're good enough. I'm good enough. You live your truth. I'll live my truth. Is going to tell you in all these New Age kind of ways to saying, you know what? I want you to study and look at that answer and figure it out. And whatever answer you come up with is the right answer for you. But is it the right answer? Don't worry about that. It's the right answer for you. But if it's wrong, I don't get where I'm supposed to be, right? Don't worry. It's good enough for you. Okay. Also had some friends that were looking into a lot of different things that the Hindu religion offers. Karma, reincarnation, all sorts of different good things, good and bad energies, good things. What a Hindu is going to tell you is to concentrate on that math problem, look at it, and if you can't figure it out, be nice to the other students. You know what? Open the door for them, say, hi, how you doing? Help the teacher clean up the classroom, and do enough nice things that hopefully when you die, you'll come back reincarnated as a person smart enough who already knows the answer. So what does that do for me now? Nothing. Just be nice. You'll come back better. I promise. Okay? That could be an issue. One of my really good friends in high school really looked a lot into Buddhism. He liked Buddhism because it said you can practice whatever religion you want so long as it's promoting peace and happiness and tranquility amongst all things. But ultimately, the goal of Buddhism is to rid yourself of the material world. So if you're a Buddhist and looking at that problem, you're thinking, all right, look at the problem, concentrate hard on the fact that you don't really need the answer. Rid yourself of the need for the answer and realize that the knowledge you already have is good enough for you. Be satisfied with the knowledge you already have. But the knowledge I already have isn't going to give me the answer. Is that right? Just rid yourself of that need to have the answer. But I really do need to have the answer whether I want it or not. Just rid yourself of that need. One of the other major world religions offering an illusion of control would be Islam. Right now, if you're a Muslim and you're looking at the problem, they're going to tell you, okay, concentrate on that problem, and multiple times a day, ask your teacher for the answer. While you're asking your teacher for the answer multiple times a day, I want you to wash your teacher's car, be nice to the other students in the classroom, walk their dog periodically around the school, and then hopes that if you do enough good things for the teacher, eventually the teacher is going to reveal the right answer for you and you can pass. Hopefully. You do this, you get this, offering you an illusion of control. But God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, offers us something different. It looks at what we do with control and how we step out of our centered life and we seek on to different things that the world has to offer. We step out of that center and God says, all right, here's what I'm going to do. And Jesus puts the problem on the board, shows all of his work, and puts the correct answer up there. It's up on the board for us. I look down at my paper. I try everything out, looking up at the board, looking at my paper. And then when I present my paper, I've still got the wrong answer. Jesus takes his paper, comes over to me, takes his A+, erases his name at the top, writes my name up there. Takes my F paper, erases my name at the top, puts his name up there. He takes the F. He gives me the A+. He says, I'm giving this to you because I love you. I'm giving you to this, and all I want you to do is go out and let other people know I've got this passing grade. I've got this A+. I have this perfection for them too because I love them. So we get back to this part where Solomon's getting into the end of this reading, where he says, remember him. Before the silver cord is severed and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring and the wheel broken at the well, and dust returns to the ground that it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Staying centered in Christ. If we're reaching out into the world for different things, for control, to try and seek happiness, the world's going to take those things back. But the things that God gives us right here in our very center, the Holy Spirit that was gifted to us in our baptism, forgiveness and grace, eternal life, everything we need to enjoy this life right now, throughout our youth and throughout old age, everything he gives us there, the world can't take away. It goes back to be with him forever. Amen. Thank you. I forgot my last slide. Sorry. So thinking about the kids that are out there, thinking about the youth that are in this room, the ones that are at home, what I'm asking you guys to do, if you are the type of person who feels motivated to spend your time helping out in children's church with Katie Cleveland on Sundays, to help out with youth group on Wednesday nights or youth group on Sunday nights, with Tim Buss and myself, or with any of the other ministries with them, that's awesome. If you don't feel gifted to do that, when you see them walking out here, I know the kids aren't going to be thrilled about this right away. Ask them how they're doing. What's one cool thing you've done this summer? I know some kids are going to be like, I went swimming. What it's telling them over and over when you ask and show a genuine interest in their lives is, you know what? We've got a great Christ-centered community right here. We care about you. So I start to think, when my kids are looking at me, what kind of pattern am I setting for those who look up to me? What outside influences do I need to shed to stay centered? Do I need to say, yeah, you need to stay off social media? Like. Stay off of it. And don't go seeking on those outside religions. You need to stay centered in Christ. I think I'm going to skip Bible study today. I'm a little tired. These are things that I've done. These are things I need to shed and stay centered back to the God who's given me everything to let me know that he loves me and he loves you. Amen.